Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and it's list time, yay! This another Star Trek list. I like Star Trek lists. This time from Screen Rant. Links in the description down below. Don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. I'm also on Rumble and Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts and Google Podcasts. My live streams are also on Twitch. I've also got a Patreon page. Links are in the description for all this stuff. This video is going to be exclusive to Patreon for a couple of weeks, then I'll make it public and put it on YouTube or whatever. Where else? I'm also on Facebook, X, and formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. Links in the description for all that, as well as links to my 2 books: Silent Predator, short horror novella about big cats roaming around a North Yorkshire village eating people and stuff. Mercury Rapids, a light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs, etc. Amazon Kindle and paperback, just a bit of fun. Right, let's get on with this list. Here we go. This is from Screen Rant. Star Trek's 10 best cliffhangers ranked. I'm probably going to disagree with some of these. I can't remember if I checked it or not, but we'll see. Cliffhangers are a staple of Star Trek that has kept fans coming back to find out what happens next. Here are Star Trek's 10 best cliffhangers. Right, here we go. Cliffhangers have long been a television staple that Star Trek has excelled at. While Star Trek the original series may not have had many episodes that ended in cliffhangers, like none, they often had dramatic moments that led into commercial breaks. That's pushing the definition a bit, Screen Rant. Star Trek's first ever 2-part episode, The Menagerie, came during the original series' first season and used footage from the show's original unaired pilot, which I still maintain. The Cage is the best piece of science fiction TV or cinema of the 1960s. I think it's even better than 2001 and Planet of the Apes and all that other stuff. I do. I think it's amazing. 2-part episodes would become commonplace in later Star Trek shows, and the first part of these stories almost always ended in a climactic cliffhanger, or in climactic cliffhangers. After Star Trek The Next Generation ended its 3rd season with The Best of Both Worlds Part 1, in 1990, season-ending cliffhangers became a trope Star Trek has relied upon to keep fans coming back. Since then, every Star Trek series has featured cliffhangers in some way, although many Star Trek shows follow a more episodic format. The Trek shows of the 1990s and 2000s often had 2-part episodes interspersed throughout the standalone episodes. The newer Star Trek series tend to use a more serialised storytelling style, with many episodes ending in cliffhangers. Here are 10 of, well, not really cliffhangers, but ending in a way that there's more to come. You know, there's a difference between that. Here are 10 of Star Trek's best cliffhangers ranked from worst to best, in their opinion. By the way, who wrote this? And I can disagree with Rachel Hull-Schultz. I'm sure they are a lovely person. You've got to say that these days, haven't you? Right, here we go, straight off. Star Trek Picard Vox, Season 3, Episode 9. I like Star Trek Picard Season 3. But we will see. While the ending of Star Trek Picard Season 3's Vox may not be as dramatic as some cliffhangers. Oh, yes, I remember this. Yes, I remember what happens at the end of this one now. And it was cool, and it does bring a tear to your eye. Anyway, by the way, spoilers. There's going to be spoilers in this list. While the ending of Star Trek Picard Season 3's Vox may not be as dramatic as some cliffhangers, it serves as a perfect setup for the finale that follows. After working with the Changelings, the Borg have infiltrated Starfleet and assimilated all of the officers under the age of 25. Jack Crusher, Ed Spaliers, the son of Admiral Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart and Dr. Beverly Crusher Gates McFadden, was turned into Vox of Borg. Captain Liam Shaw, Stashwick, has sacrificed himself to give Picard and his crew a fighting chance. The episode ends with most of the original Next Generation cast members back on the bridge of the USS Enterprise D, and the lingering question, how will they save the galaxy this time? Is that it? Yeah. It wasn't really a cliffhanger though. I mean, like as I said, it's a serialised series, so I suppose every episode ends on the tune in next week for more sort of thing. So you can't really call it a cliffhanger, but it what an amazing ending where the Enterprise D came out of the Fleet Museum, the space dock at the Fleet Museum, And if you're wondering how they managed to get the Enterprise D back, they got the saucer section back from Viridian 3, and the Star Drive section was from the USS Syracuse, another Galaxy-class ship. And apparently, Geordie LaForge tinkered it all back together in his spare time. Oh dear. Right, but yeah, that wouldn't be in my list. To be honest, I don't know what would be in my list, but there we go. Number 9, Star Trek Enterprise, The Expanse, Season 2, Episode 26. Remember we used to get that many episodes in a season? Oh, those days are long gone. Star Trek Enterprise Season 2's finale, The Expanse, begins with a devastating attack on Earth by a previously unknown foe, when Captain Jonathan Archer, Scott Bakula and the Enterprise NX-01 set off for Earth. An informant from the future tells Archer that the attackers are known as the Xindi. The Xindi have been told that humans will destroy their species in 400 years, so they have attacked the Earth of the past to prevent their eventual destruction. Enterprise heads off to investigate the dangerous area of space called the Delphic Expanse, from which the Xindi probe originated. The Xindi story arc would last for the entirety of the Enterprise's third season, and the Expanse marked a turning point. Star Trek Enterprise embracing serialised storytelling. Well, not really. It didn't really embrace it. It just did it in Season 3. And even then, in Season 3, there were quite a few standalone stories in the middle of their journey through the Delphic Expanse. There was still a lot of standalone episodes. But the best ones were the Xindi ones, in my opinion. But I don't know how they're picking this one. I don't know if they've... Because I think that the cliffhanger at the end of Season 1 was better than cause this wasn't really a cliffhanger. This was the Enterprise going into the Expanse, and then, you know, it doesn't say to be continued, because we know what's going to happen in Season 3. Season 3 is going in, they're going to find the Xindi. There's cliffhanger at the end of Season 1, Shockwave, Part 1, that were better, because Archer was trapped in the future. And a big pullback of him trapped in the future in a destroyed city, that because the timeline had changed because of the temporal Cold War and all that, and he was essentially trapped in the future and he couldn't get back. And that had to be continued on. That would a better cliffhanger from Enterprise. Maybe that one's in here. I don't know. We will see. Number 8, Star Trek Voyager, Year of Hell, Part 1, Season 4, Episode 8. This is a mid-season two-parter, and it was an amazing... Season 4 of Voyager is the best season of Voyager, by far. Some amazing stories in there. As Captain Janeway, Kate Mulgrew and the USS Voyager enter a new region of space, they encounter an alien species known as the Krenim. At first, the Krenim ship is no match for Voyager's shields and weapons, but then a temporal disruption occurs that suddenly makes the Krenim much more powerful. Over the next 2 months, Voyager engages in several battles with the Krenim and suffers major damage and heavy losses. In one attack, Vulcan Security Chief Lieutenant Tuvok, Tim Russ, I think he was Lieutenant Commander by this point, I could be wrong, is blinded and severely injured. Star Trek Voyager Year of Hell Part 1 ends with Commander Chakotay, Robert Beltran, and Lieutenant Tom Paris, Robert Duncan McNeil, as prisoners of the Krenim, and everyone but the senior staff forced to abandon Voyager. That's it. It was a decent cliffhanger. We saw all the escape pods coming off Voyager and shuttles flying away and stuff, and just a skeleton crew, just the ensemble cast remaining on board Voyager. To maintain the ship such as it was, as you can see from that, the Voyager took a pasting. Year of Hell, originally, the original plan for it, because I think it did get mentioned in Season 3, it did get mentioned, the Year of Hell, and because somebody from the future mentioned it. I can't remember who now. I'm sure somebody will tell me. Put it in the comments. But the original plan was for the entirety of Season 4 to be the Year of Hell, and Voyager, getting a pounding for 20-odd episodes until the final, climactic episode when, they sort everything out. But they decided instead just to do a two-parter. And it was great. It was a really good story. Really good story. With the Krenim, Anorax, who were doing all this time manipulation, as being, he was the bad guy. But, he had his reasons, and you kind of felt for him a little bit. But anyway, so there we go. So yeah, I'd put that one in. Right, number 7. Oh god, this won't be in. No Star Trek Discovery cliffhanger would be in here. Star Trek Discovery, Such Sweet Sorrow, Part 2, Season 2, Episode 14. Is this the season finale? I don't know, but it was rubbish. With the introduction of Captain Christopher Pike, Anson Mount, Lieutenant Spock, Ethan Peck, and number 1, Rebecca Romaine, Star Trek Discovery Season 2 proved to be a turning point. Discovery Season 2 finale, Such Sweet Sorrow Part 2, not only sets up the crew who would become the stars of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, but also, which I love Strange New Worlds, but I'm not a big fan of Discovery. I'm tempted to try and re-watch Discovery again and see if I like it. I don't think I will. But I'm tempted to. Strange New Worlds, but also completely changed the trajectory of Discovery. Commander Michael Burnham. Still don't know why they gave her a boy's name. Sonequa Martin Green becomes the Red Angel to set up. I know you could say, oh well, names are just names, and Shirley can be a boy's name and all that. Anyway, becomes the Red Angel to set up the 5 signals that Discovery has been following, and she travels 900 years into the future to set a 6th signal for Discovery to follow and escape control. The episode ends with Captain Pike and his crew observing the 7th signal that tells them that Burnham and the Discovery made it into the future. 900 years in the future is much farther than any other Star Trek show has ever shown, so viewers have had no idea what to expect when Discovery returned for Season 3. Well, just more rubbish. I mean, they didn't even have to go. They didn't even have to go into the future because Control was defeated in the present, in the 23rd century. It was defeated, so they didn't have to go. Everything was sorted, but they still went. And they didn't. She didn't even have to go in the Red Angel suit. She flew the Red Angel suit through this wormhole, and the Discovery followed her for some reason. And but she didn't even have to go because we found out at the beginning of Season 3 the Red Angel suit could fly itself. She said she sent it off. Autopilot, fly. Do whatever you have to do. So she didn't even have to do that. So that's it. Star Trek Discovery is terrible. Terrible writing. It looks nice, but it's terrible writing. Right, number 6, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Gem Hadar. Again, this is another, not really a cliffhanger. It's a, tune in next season to see what happens. It's to learn more. It's not really a cliffhanger, but I won't call it because it doesn't really follow on. I know it does follow on, but not directly, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Gem Hadar, Season 2, Episode 26. Throughout Star Trek Deep Space Nine's second season, there were whispers of a powerful force who occupied the Gamma Quadrant on the other side of the wormhole. The Dominion. The Gem Hadar finally sees those rumours proven to be fact as Commander Benjamin Sisko, Avery Brooks and DS9's crew get their first glimpse of the Dominion and its forces. The Dominion foot soldiers, known as the Gem Hadar, Gem Hader, as in Bill Hader. Unbelievable. Easily pass through the shields and force fields deployed on Deep Space Nine. But that's not when we first meet them, and we don't see them on Deep Space Nine, I don't think. Oh no, we see one, I think, don't we? Yes, we do. When the Federation starship USS Odyssey, a Galaxy-class ship, arrives to help the Gem Hadar... We stop spelling it wrong. When you spelled it right there, why are you spelling it wrong there? The Gem Hadar destroy it with a suicide run. By the end of the episode, Sisko and his crew realise that Dominion may be a more formidable opponent than they once believed, and that their conflict with them has only just begun. Because they carry on now for the remainder of Deep Space Nine. For the next 4 seasons, wouldn't it? But yeah, it was a good episode. 5 seasons, sorry. It was a good episode with the Gem Hadar. The gist of it is that Sisko and Jake and Nog and Quark go to the Gamma Quadrant for basically a school project for Jake and Nog to survey a planet. And it was supposed to be all nice, basically a break for them. But they encounter the Gem Hadar and also the the Vorta. It's the first time we see them, and they change up the Vorta in future. But in this one, they seem to have like telekinetic powers and stuff, but we never see that again. But and apparently they can transport a really long way, or I don't know. But she transported at the end. She transported off Deep Space Nine, and they don't know where the transport signal went. Maybe she just destroyed herself. I don't know. But we didn't see her again. But yeah, we're a good one. But I wouldn't really call it a cliffhanger, to be honest. But we're a good final episode. Sometimes they have good final episodes in Star Trek that are cliffhangers, like that one, and Deep Space, Star Trek Voyager, Hope and Fear. That one where there's that alien that creates the USS. I forgot what we're calling now. Dauntless, the USS Dauntless, NX-01. Obviously, it was made before Enterprise. But that was a good season ender, but not a cliffhanger. Right, Star Trek The Next Generation, number 5. Star Trek The Next Generation Redemption Part 1. Yes, this were a good one. Another mid-season. Is it? Oh no, it's an end-of-season cliffhanger, isn't it? Redemption. Season 4, episode 26, to be continued. And there you go. That's telling us straight away how it's to be continued. This is where we meet Seela. I think we'd seen her in the shadows earlier on in the episode, but this is when she steps out of the shadows and we see it's Denise Crosby. So everybody's like, oh, Tasha, yeah! But we learn it's not. We don't learn the name in episode 1. Right, Star Trek The Next Generation's Redemption Part 1 finds Captain Picard and his Klingon security chief, Lieutenant Worf, Michael Dorn, caught up in complicated Klingon politics. Picard helps install Gowron, Robert O'Reilly, as leader of the Klingon High Council, which threatens to cause a civil war among the Klingons. Lursa, Barbara March and Betorg, Gwyneth Walsh of the House of Duras have begun assembling a fleet to challenge Gowron. The episode ends with the reveal of Duras' sister's ally, a Romulan named Seela, who bears a striking resemblance to former Enterprise security officer Tasha Yar, Denise Crosby. While the next episode provides an explanation for this resemblance, it was certainly shocking to see Denise Crosby on The Next Generation again. Yeah, and it was cool, and it was a good story as well. I mean, they did say, like, contradict a bit of Star Trek lore here, but we're told that a woman, that Lursa and Bator want to take over the Empire, but we're told that a woman can't lead the council. But we'd seen in Star Trek 6, Azit Burr, the daughter of Gorkon, she led the Klingon High Council. So why couldn't Lursa or Bator? I don't know. But we're told that women can't lead, females can't lead the Klingon High Council, so they have a son of Duras, whose name escapes me. They have him as just a kid. They put him forward to be the leader, and it all goes awry for him. This is the episode 2 is the one where they set up the Federation, the Starfleet sets up the tachyon detection net to detect cloaked Romulan ships, and it's the one where Data commands the USS Sutherland, a Nebula class ship, and defeats the Romulans single-handedly, pretty much. A good episode and a good season cliffhanger. Another one, possibly my favourite, Star Trek Voyager. This would be my number 1, to be honest. We all know what the number 1 is going to be, but I think this is my favourite personally. Star Trek Voyager Scorpion Part 1, Season 3, Episode 26. Before 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan became one of the main characters of Star Trek Voyager. Captain Janeway made a controversial alliance with the Borg in the Delta Quadrant. As Janeway and the crew of the USS Voyager prepare to travel through Borg space, they encounter an alien species even more powerful than the Borg. Known only as Species 8472, these aliens attack Voyager, which prompts Janeway to make an alliance with the Borg. The episode ends with Janeway on the Borg cube, as the Borg and Voyager narrowly escape being destroyed by Species 8472. Basically, Species 8472 blows up a planet, and the Borg cube and Voyager are flung out into space. Anyway, as the episode ends, we just see them drifting off into space. To be continued. I'm like, Star Trek Voyager Season 3 Scorpion is significant not only because Janeway makes an alliance with one of the Federation's greatest enemies, but also because it leads to the introduction of 7 of 9. And it's also got one of the best opening, teaser parts before the credits. One of the shortest as well. We just see some Borg cubes heading towards us, and we hear the "We are the Borg. Resistance is futile" and all that. And then just suddenly some energy beams come and destroy all the Borg ships. And then we get to the opening credits, and it's cool. You're thinking, "Blooming number." But yes, that is my favourite. That'd have been my number one. But I understand why the one at number one, well, what I think is number one, is number one. Number 3, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Call to Arms, Season 5, Episode 26. That's another decent one. Call to Arms marks the beginning of one of the most significant story arcs in the Star Trek franchise, Star Trek Deep Space Nine's Dominion War. Captain Sisko and his crew plant mines around the wormhole, effectively blocking any more Dominion forces from coming through. Self-replicating mines. If anybody tries tampering or destroying a mine, the one next to it will replicate another one to replace it. I don't exactly know how that works, but anyway, it did. Which was Nog's dad's Rom's idea, the Ferengi Rom. It was his idea. Where were we? With Starfleet reinforcements unavailable, the Klingons help patrol the border while the USS Defiant deploys the mines. Soon after, the Dominion forces attack Deep Space Nine, and Sisko orders the retreat of all Starfleet personnel. It's Dominion and Cardassians, I think. Because I think we'd learned that Cardassia had joined the Dominion. The episode ends with the Dominion occupying Deep Space Nine and Captain Sisko and the Defiant joining an armada of Starfleet and Klingon ships. It was hard to watch Sisko and the other Starfleet officers abandon the station that has become their home, not knowing how they were going to get it back. Yeah, it were a good one, that. But it did end on kind of on a high note, because I think Guldikat retakes his office back from Sisko, and we see Sisko's baseball is still on the desk, and Guldikat says he'll be back for this, so we know that they're coming back. And season 6, I think, begins on a bit of a down note. I think we see lots of Federation starships limping back to a star base, all, heavily damaged and stuff after engagements with the Dominion. The war wasn't going well, but a good few seasons of Deep Space Nine, the Dominion War. Right, number 2, Strange New Worlds. See, there's one in here that's I don't think it's going to be in one of my, but I think we're a good cliffhanger. But we'll get to it. I'll put it in at the end. Not my favourite, but I'm surprised it's not in here. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Hegemony, Season 2. I never know how to pronounce it. I'll say Hegemony. Sounds better, doesn't it? Season 2, Episode 10. This were a good cliffhanger, and I did enjoy the episode. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2 ended with a cliffhanger reminiscent of the ones that concluded the TNG seasons, and said we're a lot like Best of Both Worlds, which I suspect we're going to see next. At the end of Hegemony, Captain Pike, Anson Mount, Captain Marie Battelle, Melanie Scrofano, and Scotty, yes, Scotty, Martin Quinn, escape from Parnassus Beta, only to realise that many of the remaining survivors have been taken hostage by the Gorn, outgunned by the Gorn ship, or ships. The Enterprise receives orders from Starfleet to retreat, but Captain Pike never leaves his people behind. The episode ends with Pike facing this impossible decision, kind of make him look a bit indecisive, to be honest. While the life of Captain Battelle and the survivors captured by the Gorn hang in the balance. She wasn't captured by them. She were with Pike, so she's fine. She's on the Enterprise. But yeah, it were okay. It were fine. I enjoyed it. As I say, I like Strange New Worlds. I think people are a bit too harsh on it. It is a new timeline after all, so that's why I give it a lot of leeway. I give it leeway before we learned it were a new timeline, but I give it even more now because it is a different timeline. Dates have changed and everything, so it's not the same as the original series, in my opinion. So yes, that was a good cliffhanger. A good cliffhanger. It had a to be continued on, which is what you want on a cliffhanger, isn't it? Right, number 1. This is one we all thought were going to be number 1. Star Trek Next Generation: The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1, Season 3, Episode 26. There he is. I am Locutus of Borg. In the finale of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Commander Will Riker, Jonathan Frakes, orders Worf, Michael Dorn, to fire on an attacking Borg cube, with Captain Picard aboard. While cliffhangers would become commonplace on The Next Generation and subsequent Star Trek shows, The Best of Both Worlds marked the first time a Star Trek show ended on such a dramatic moment. Plus, rumours swirled at the time that Patrick Stewart might be departing the show, and fans had to wait nearly 3 months to find out whether Picard would survive. Of course it would. This finale established the Borg as the Federation's greatest enemy and began a storyline that would become important 30 years later in Star Trek Picard Season 3. The Best of Both Worlds Part 1 remains not only Star Trek's best cliffhanger, but one of the best cliffhangers in all of television. I suppose so. It's up there with, Who Killed JR and all that, isn't it? But it's still not my favourite. My favourite is still Scorpion. But that were a good one. And like I said, it was replicated in what they put at number 2. A similar situation. Right, so that's the best 10 from Screen Rant, but not really my best 10. I was going to do, I suppose, my honourable mentions. 3 that I would have included in this list. I'd probably take the Discovery one out, definitely. I'd probably take the Strange New Worlds one out as well, to be completely honest, because that's just essentially a retread of Best of Both Worlds, isn't it? So one of them, my first one, I've already mentioned, Shockwave, Part 1 from Enterprise, the end of Season 1, which is a great cliffhanger in my opinion, because it ends with this. There we go, a destroyed wherever we are. I don't know where it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be like a Federation colony. It was supposed to be a thriving colony in the 31st century, I think. But something's happened to it, the timeline's changed, and Archer is in there somewhere with crewman Daniels. And I said, everything's destroyed and he's trapped there in the future and he can't get back. Obviously he does. But there he is with crewman Daniels in the library. They go to the library and crewman Daniels is expecting like all technological stuff to be there, but we find that there's actually books. So the timeline is altered. And this is where Archer finds a book that says the Romulan Star Empire. It says you don't need to read that. But that's a good one, is Shockwave. Obviously, it gets resolved and everything is put back to normal. But it's a great, for the first season of Enterprise, Enterprise, I love Enterprise. I think it's a great series. But that Season 1 finale, what they call a banger. It was a good one. I like that one. Right, next up, actually, the next 2 are actually both Voyager ones. One of them's a season-ending, both actually season-ending cliffhanger. I'll do them in order. I'll do them. They're in reverse order, actually. But Unimatrix Zero, and I can't remember. I forgot which series it was. Which season? Is it Season 5? The end of Season 5? Yes, it must be. Yes, it's the end of Season 5, I think. Unimatrix Zero, where Janeway, Tuvok, and B'Elanna infiltrate a Borg cube, get captured, and get assimilated. Oh my god. Apologies for the poor quality of the image, but there's B'Elanna as rather a dishy Borg human Klingon hybrid, and there's Tuvok. And we also see Janeway as a Borg. There we go. Not very flattering, is it? She doesn't make a very attractive Borg. I mean, I love Kate Mulgrew. I think she's absolutely gorgeous, but she doesn't make a good Borg, does she? But yeah, that was a good one. That was a good cliffhanger, because that's how it ends there. We get to be continued. And bloody hell, they're being assimilated by the Borg. What's going to happen now? We have to wait until Season 6 or whatever season it was. But yeah, that was a good one. That would have been on my list. And this one would as well. The end of Season 2, because Season 1 of Voyager didn't have a cliffhanger ending. It was a short season as well. I think maybe a strike or something had happened, I think. But here we go. This the basics was the end, the season cliffhanger for Season 2, which saw, there we go, the Kazon with Marge Culler and Seska taking over Voyager and abandoning the crew on this planet. I forgot the name of the planet. It begins with a H. I've forgotten what they called it. But they're abandoned on this. It's like a prehistoric planet. It's a very primitive. And they're left there, and the Voyager takes off and flies away. But little do they know, the Kazon and Seska, that they don't know that the EMH program is still up to shenanigans. Is working with another crew member that's still on board. Who were hiding. Crewman Suda, played by Brad Dourif, in a great role. It turned out, he was in it earlier, previously, in a few episodes of that mid-season, where essentially he was a serial killer that had joined the Maquis because he was good at killing, and he just started killing people again on Voyager. Well, just one person, and he just killed them just because he felt like it. And Tuvok helped him because they don't have a death penalty in the Federation or on Voyager, so they didn't execute him. They couldn't leave him in the bridge, so Tuvok did a mind meld and things with him to help him with his urges. But he was essentially a prisoner. He was confined to quarters and stuff. But anyway, he gave his life to save Voyager. Anyway, so that was a good one. It was a good one with that in part 2 of the basics, and obviously the Voyager comes back and saves the crew, but not before Mr. Hogan. I think it's Mr. Hogan gets got by a creature, and like a sort of snake-like, creature. It kills him, but then his remains are found later on. I think it's season 3. In the episode Distant Origin, where we learn that some dinosaurs evolved and left the Earth before, the extinction event happened. But anyway, so that's another tale. Right, so that's it. That were my 3 honourable mentions. I think they should have been included at the expense of some of the others. But anyway, so we'll leave it there. We will leave it there. So thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee.